My camera. How about them Giants? How about them Giants? How about them Giants?
Woo! What's happening, people? Welcome to another episode of Giants Rush, where we talk Giants football like, 50 weeks of the year. Thanks for hanging out. See, you guys are piling in the room. Got some cool things to talk about because the Giants, I don't know how it happened, but it was like lightning in a bottle. Doesn't even matter. Giants beat the Philadelphia Eagles at home 34-17. Feels like old news probably, but you're never too tired of talking about it after beating the crap out of the Eagles at home. Felt really good. We got Ryan Dunleavy in the house. I got Sean in the house. And we're gonna chop that up because we've got some time off. What's up, Mark? I see you in the room. Let's break some down. Look, we're gonna do studs and duds. We're gonna do everything we normally do, but the main thing to know is that your football Giants have some life. Things are a little bit different today than they normally are. So if anything, what I can tell you is
It's good to be the king.
Always good to be the king. Thanks for tuning in. nygiantsrush.com. You can check out the website. Got plenty of articles up there. YouTube, subscribe. Appreciate you guys. Like it, favorite, share it with some friends. All the interviews are up there. Let's bring in this guy.
And here we go.
You can call me Joker.
What's up, dude?
What's going on, Craig? Victory Monday. I wore the cigars because in celebration of a huge win over the Philadelphia Eagles.
Dude, more than a huge win. It was like a monkey off your back. Like all this weight. Like, wow, they came to play and a lot of really good things happened.
It was cathartic, and I don't even think Ryan can rain on our parade, but we'll see tonight.
No, he's not. Because you know what? He's happy too. The best thing Ryan said last week, and if you guys are new and you're just tuning in, Ryan Dunleavy, Giants beat reporter from the Post. He's with us every single Monday, part of the Rush staff, covering the Giants. But what I really loved what Ryan said was, Craig, I don't want to see him lose either. I don't want to be talking about mock drafts, or I don't want to be talking about, free agency. I want him to win too. So without further ado, there he is. Yo.
Let me turn on a light. There we go.
Hey, there he is.
What's
What's going on?
It's good to see you.
And I will not be raining on your parade. You're getting optimistic, Ryan, today.
Woohoo!
Yeah. Well, let's.
We're getting 90s grunge, Ryan, as well, with the flannel going.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, you like that? Yeah.
Dude, yeah, very nice.
I do like it a lot. Especially we are 90s guys.
Yes.
Giants win 34-17. We're gonna do studs and duds in a second. Dart goes 17 for 25 at 195 with a touchdown. He also runs 13 times, which, believe it or not, is a lot. To run 13 times.
Well, it's really 10. It includes the 3 kneel downs at the end.
Oh yeah, that is a very good point. 10 actual plays where he tried to attempt to run the football for 58 yards. Hurts 24 for 33 for 283, touchdown and interception. The biggest stat line of the day to me, which is maybe just my favorite, is Saquon Barkley 12 for 58 for 4.8 yards, where Scatterboo has 19 carries for 98 yards. And by the way, he did have a taunting penalty, which took him under 100 yards rushing for the day. He wound up with 98 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 12 yards on the receiving side. Guys, nice offensive output. Let's just start to show off where we normally do, and that's with studs and duds. All right, gentlemen, a lot of places to start. We're starting with studs. A lot of guys stepped up and played some good football. Ryan, if I'm getting optimistic, Ryan, today, I am locked in to hear your stud or studs of the game, because when we left, you weren't sure there was going to be any, and we've got a couple.
All right, am I up first?
You are up first.
Yeah.
I'm giving it to the 5-man offensive line of the Giants.
Wow.
And that's with a guy who scored 3 touchdowns. I'm passing on him because all three of those touchdowns were short yardage touchdowns. Those 5 guys up front have been maligned for 15 years. They've watched the Eagles build their identity. The Cowboys build their identity in this division on being the best offensive lines in the league, let alone the NFC East. And the Giants outplayed the Eagles on both sides of the line of scrimmage, but specifically with their offensive line. 39 carries for 172 yards. And again, that includes the kneel downs. Giants fans aren't used to that. Kneel downs are what happened at the end of the game when you win. They have the quarterback takes a knee that counts as a rushing attempt and a minus yard. 39 for 172, only 3 quarterback hits on Jackson Dart. I could say the defensive line too, because they harassed Hurts, but I'm going to give those 5 guys. I mean, no one has written more about the Giants offensive line failures than me in the last 7 years. So I want to give them their credit. Andrew Thomas is an absolute stud. Being a brick wall is what allows Jackson Dart the comfort other rookie quarterbacks don't have to navigate the pocket. And then the other guys, I mean, the interior might have been JMS's best game as an NFL player before he got a concussion. Then Schlottman comes in. When does a backup center come in? 32 snaps. You didn't even notice him out there. Not one mishandled snap. Just a really good job by all 5 guys. It was the game plan was clearly we're going to run it down their throat. I would have told you that's never going to work, and it worked.
Love that. You said originally, you said 5-man front. We'll have to call it a 6-man front since JMS went down, right?
Yep.
And it was a concussion because it looked like he got poked in the eye when I was watching the game.
They called it a concussion. They announced it as nose originally, and then they called it a concussion. So we won't know till Wednesday when they're back on the field where he's at in the protocol. But for now, they're calling it a concussion.
All right. So, Sean.
Yeah. Ryan
had a really good pick. And
he did.
We had on remember we had Dave on from our lads. Remember we had Dave on, and we had talked about a couple things with him. And the very first thing when that Giants game ended was a quote from him that he put out that it was the best showing from that offensive line in quite some time. I remember seeing that tweet from him, and it registered with me because, he spared no time on propping up that O-line, and he watches a lot of football and, evaluates the Senior Bowl stuff. So it's good to hear Ryan say it. Since that's taken and you're not going to repeat that, who's your stud of the game?
Well, I'm going to go with a little less obvious choice in this one because I think this guy stepped up pretty big, and I'm going to go with Lil Jordan Humphrey. Gets called up for that game, has a big 3rd down catch on a jump ball. Nice to have a guy 6'4" to be able to do a 50-50 catch, which is nice. And his blocks are responsible for 2 of the touchdowns that we had, the Wandale touchdown and then one of Cam Scatterbo's. So he was blocking his butt off all game. So because I'm not going to go with the obvious choice of who I could go with for stud, and I think you might go with that one. Yeah, Lil Jordan Humphrey was impressive when he came up. Again, just getting called up that week, comes in, starting right away. Big play in that third down that led to that first drive, which was huge, right? And then just blocking. Like we talked about it before, like why some other receivers haven't gotten on the field because they don't block in the run game. He comes in and he played hungry. And that's what we've been talking about, right? I want to see receivers. I want to see guys that are playing hungry. And he did. So my stud goes to Lil Jordan Humphrey.
Oh, okay. I was gonna go there, and you stole a little bit of my thunder. So
really, I thought you were gonna go with the other guy. The obvious
I was trying
choice.
to be conservative. So now that you said, now I'm torn between the 2 big ones that are the most obvious. But
you got to go because remember who Ryan's dud was last week.
He totally said Scatterboo was the dud. Yes,
right. So and I guess Scatterboo must have been watching. Clearly, he was watching New York Giants Rush to hear that. Yeah, right.
So next time, Ryan should have been in the locker room saying, "Look, I called you out on Monday as my dud. Fix that, all right?" But I'm gonna throw a curveball at you here.
Okay,
and not for the reason why you think. So I'm gonna go with and buckle in. I'm going with Dart as my stud, but for not the reason you think. Okay. Yes, statistically. The toughness, the running ability, the all the things that he did. He is Scatterboo and Dart and Carter and Burns have electrified the fans, right? The reason why I went with Dart, and I think it was alluding to what Ryan said, he's a rookie quarterback, right? And he threw the ball to Hyatt, Wandale, Humphreys, and Theo and Scatterboo. For a rookie quarterback, I'm calling him the stud because he wasn't, what did they say? If you didn't watch Ole Miss football, they said, he only stares through one guy, right? Hyatt goes 3 for 17. Wandale goes 6 for 64 with a touchdown. Humphreys goes 4 for 55. Theo goes 2 for 27. Scatterboo goes 2 for 12. He spread the ball around very well for a rookie quarterback. You don't usually see stuff like that, right? They just rookie quarterback, he's looking for somebody downfield. I thought he did a really good job going through progressions, which again, he got slammed for not being able to go through progressions. So I'm going Dart for showing a little bit of maturity in his game.
Okay. All right. But I think we can all agree that Cam Scatterboo was the clear and obvious stud of the game, right? Like we'll all agree on that one.
It's so funny. We just did this. Like the Giants, I'm sure there are weeks where you guys struggle to find studs of the game.
Yes.
And
we just did this, guys, and we missed probably the 2 best individual performances of the game. So who's the second one?
Scatterboo had a 3. Brian Burns.
Yeah, Brian Burns.
Oh, right.
Brian Burns. Brian Burns wrecked this game. I mean, those 2 third down sacks, particularly this second one that ended any chance of them going for it on 4th down or trying to get in field goal range or whatever. I mean, Brian Burns wrecked that game. 7 tackles, 2 sacks. Yeah. He's had a monster season, and that was a monster game. So the edges are playing. Like Kayvon's doing a hell of a job in run support, setting the edge, and Burns the second sack was a stand-up inside linebacker sack. That's unselfish because that's not his normal position, and it's paying off. He's being karmically rewarded for showing some versatility. He abused whatever guard that was through the B gap. So I thought they were the 2 best individual performances, and we didn't name either one. So
and I was holding out on the Burns because wanted to save him for some defensive chat. But since we're bringing up Burns, we might as well we're going to jump to that just before we get to duds. I do want to remind everybody right now, Brian Burns has 7 sacks. He is 3rd in the NFL in sacks. The only 2 that are in front of him are Benito from Denver with 8 and Young from with 7.5 from LA. So he is literally a sack off leading the NFL in sacks. Not only is that great to see, But again, good dude, good teammate, fun to watch. And as Ryan just said, he has a game-wrecking ability that we never saw in Carolina because they were a bad team. And here we are, seeing a really cool opportunity for Brian Burns to continue to lead this team. So, yes, Burns and Scadaboo are the easy studs of the game. But that does lead me to the other half of this segment, and that is duds. You got to find one for me here, Ryan. You got to have somebody.
I really, I could do this for 8 years. I don't think I'd ever have a choice. This is why I tweeted, guys. I tweeted this was in my 8 years of doing the Giants. This was the single most impressive performance all around that I said that I saw. Like, look, they won a playoff game. They gave up like 27 points or something in that playoff game. They beat the Colts last year, locked through 5 touchdowns. Who cares? The game meant nothing considering primetime quality of opponent, offense, defense, special teams contributions. I thought this was the most complete game I've seen the Giants play in my 8 years. So I really have a hard time. I guess I'm going to go Tyrone Tracy, 4 carries, 6 yards. He's real. This is supposed to be a 1-2 backfield punch. It's not supposed to be the Cam Scadaboo show. It's the design was an Ahmad Bradshaw, Brandon Jacobs pairing. That was what they had in mind when they created this. And Scadaboo, obviously 19 carries, 98 yards, 3 touchdowns. And Tracy's right now kind of a forgotten man.
Yeah.
Any chance that he's just kind of working his way back into form?
Yeah, there's a chance, but guys lose their jobs because of injury in this league. I mean, I'm not saying he's going to lose his roster spot, but he lost a chunk of his carries and it's just the way it is. I mean, ask who was the quarterback who lost the job to Kurt Warner? I can't even remember his name. That goes to
Green. Wasn't it Green?
Trent Green. Yes, Trent Green. Yeah. Like, guys lose their jobs to injury. It happens. So, yeah, there's a chance he's working his way back. I think Tyrone Tracy is a good player in this league, but if Scadaboo is going to play like that, there isn't going to be a lot of room. Ain't going to be a lot of carries left for you, buddy.
Yeah.
How about it, Sean? You got a dud in there for me again, like Ryan said. Really, I mean, again, stands were electric. People were pumped. It was the most complete game. Even special teams are fun to watch right now with Gunner back there, just flying around the place. So, who's your dud?
So I'm gonna give it to a position, and I'll say this with a caveat: they did improve in the second half.
I know exactly where you're going.
You know where I'm going, right? So I'm gonna give it to the middle. I'm gonna give it to
same thing.
I'm giving it to the middle linebacking group because in pass coverage they were not good early on. Against the run, they were good. Second half, they got better. They've been a liability most of the season. But in a game like this, you got to pick somebody, but I'll give them credit. They did turn it around in the second half, in my opinion. But first half, those are first 3 drives, they just weren't where they needed to be. And I didn't like the way they were playing in that unit. I don't know if it's a communication thing. I don't know, whatever it was. But again, we got to pick somebody. Second half was a lot better for them. So I'll give them credit for turning around. But yeah, that first half, I'm going to give it to the middle linebackers.
Yeah, I kind of agree with that. I mean, Karake, he always seems to start the season slow, but now we're in game 5, game 6. He should be starting to hit stride because 2 years in a row, he has started off very slow. And Musa, he's not an everyday linebacker. He catches a lot of tackles. He's not one that fills the hole. He's fast, but he's lightweight, and he seems more of a tackle catcher than actually somebody that either comes up and makes a stop in the hole, makes things more difficult. But they played definitely better. I saw Karake make some nice plays in the 3rd and 4th quarter.
Yeah, absolutely.
So hopefully,
whole defense, they shut them out in the whole defense. They shut them out in the second half. In the last 2 weeks, the defense has only given up 3 points in the second half. So it's a good thing you want to see with them making adjustments, right? So yeah, agreed. Like that's I'd like to see him fill the hole a little better. I'd like to see him not just trying to take on the blocker and leave it for somebody else to make the tackle. That's a personal thing. It's an old school thing. Who knows? But yeah.
Well, let's move on to New York is definitely everyone's talking about Dart and Scadaboo.
Whoa. Who was your dud?
Oh, the linebacker crew.
Oh, you can't pick the same one.
I can't. All right,
He's
fine.
the king. He can do what he wants.
No, but I thought,
Yeah, wait a minute. Hang on a
I thought
second.
those were the rules.
This is what you get used to, Ryan. Watch.
Do I have to play this for
used-
you?
It's good to be the king.
Yeah, get used to that, Ryan. Get
It's
used to
your
that.
show.
Not your regular. Get used to that.
All right. So originally, okay, you are right. Originally, I have it written down here, looking at my notes, that it was the linebacker crew. But since he took it, and I need to pivot, I can pivot. The quote unquote second position that struggled in my eyes is the safety group. Holland and Newbin are consistently either A, out of position, B, taking really crummy angles to the ball to the point where you're like, okay, do they not understand this defense? Because these are two world-class athletes, and they always seem like they're a little bit off. And when was it Devontae Smith that he overthrew? Who did Hurts overthrow? He was wide open.
Yeah, Devontae Smith.
Yeah.
Because of the
Devontae
blitz.
Smith running wide open down the seam, and Hurts just, gifts it to him over his head and misses him. And I'm constantly like, I can't quite wrap my arm or my head around what's happening, because it's not just Newbin. It's also Holland.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they just seem either out of position, or they're too close to the line of scrimmage, or they take these really bad angles. So I said this as a joke, or maybe tongue in cheek. 3 weeks ago against Kansas City, they bring Antrell Roll out for the hype man. Okay, he comes out, he gets the crowd going. Big, go Big Blue. Antrell Roll led this team in tackles when he played 3 seasons in a row from the safety spot. Now, you could say that's a problem that your safety's making all those tackles, right? But I almost feel like they need to bring in someone to teach these guys how to play more free. I don't know if they're too tight. I don't know if they're afraid to make a mistake. But I thought, I didn't know what to think of Newbin. I knew he was a nice player, but he was a ball hawk in college. And Holland was like a really rangy player. I don't see it right now. So if I'm going to dig for a second one, I'm going to go with the safeties.
Okay.
By
I
the way,
agree with what you said.
And Belton saved him from being in there because he punched that ball out with the fumble. Or I'd put Belton in there too. And we've had Belton on. We're Belton fans. We've had him on the show. He's a good dude, but he saved himself from getting put in the group with Newbin and Holland.
Yeah.
So, all right, you called me on it. I gave you another one.
Good answer.
All right. So let's talk about Blue Tent Gate for a second. Look,
Geez, yeah.
Look, Dart, Ryan, I've said this to you. I think you were on last week when I said it. Like, in my house, in my family, we've been rooting for Dart for quite some time. My son's been on the Dart train. Everybody's heard me say it a million times. I can tell you about all his flaws, what he does well, this and that, because I've seen probably at least him play 20, 25 games. The reckless abandon that he's playing with right now will catch up with him. As much as we all love it, he's going to have to turn that down. So the question is that the hit that he took wasn't even like, it wasn't bad, and like, it wasn't like he didn't slide. It was a little bit of a, shoulder down. He got kind of dinged. He goes in the tent, Ryan. What is for all the people there, what is the protocol? What is allowed and not allowed? Because I'm assuming the Giants are going to take some type of fine here. Can you give me some kind of context?
Oh yeah. This is so they're looking at like a 6-figure fine, 100,000, 150,000, something like that. The question really becomes is it just for the organization? Is it does Dayball get fined too? That's really what it becomes like. There's examples. Russell Wilson, they violated the concussion protocol. I think the Seahawks got $100,000 fine. There have been investigations that turned up nothing. I would not expect this to turn up nothing. The NFL takes things these things very seriously now because of concussions and all the bad publicity they've had around those. Here's the real irony, guys. I don't know if you caught wind of this. Here is the you can't make this up. Here's the you can't make this up irony of what happened and when it happened and all. So earlier in the day, Thursday afternoon, the NFL chief medical officer is on hand at MetLife Stadium to give the media a tour of the injury tent on the sideline. In my 8 years, that has never happened. But they want the reporters to understand it better, right? So Dr. Alan Sills, the NFL CMO, is taking media through that tent where Dayball 4 hours later or whatever tries to peek in. And he says there are specific rules about who can go in the tent, namely the player getting checked, a team physician, an independent specialist, and potentially a team trainer. Then, direct quote, this is from the AP, never more than those people. Never any coaches in here, never any other players in here, never anybody else in here. 4 hours before the Giants break this rule, the NFL CMO is on the sideline telling you exactly, without any need for clarity, what can happen. And then you have the coach peek in and you have another player, Scatterboo, go in. So they're going to get fined. I don't think, I saw the Mike Florio PFAT report. I don't think they're going to lose a draft pick. I think that's one of those things where it's like their worst case scenario, fears, whatever. I don't think that's what's going to happen, but I do think they're going to get a hefty fine. And I don't know if it's going to be like, 100,000 the team and 50 to Dayball or what. I don't know how they're going to split it up, but I do think they're going to get a hefty fine and they're going to be an example is going to be made of them. And part of it, guys, is let's call this what it is. Brian Dayball cannot control his emotions on the sideline. He can't do it. It's when he threw an iPad at Daniel Jones. It's when he couldn't even give Melissa Stark a halftime interview after Tyrod Taylor ran out the clock in Buffalo. It's when he gave Thomas McGahee the look of death in a preseason game. He cannot control his emotions on the sideline. It's bitten him before. He's gotten away with it. The people you can't yell at are the medical people. Not only did he peek in the tent, he chewed out the team doctor. That is not going to fly in the NFL. There is supposed to be, to use the saying everybody understands, a strict division of church and state between football and medical, and he blurred that line.
Question.
So let me ask this, Ryan. I want to ask this, and it may be a little controversial, but I mean, Dart's been in the tent like 3 weeks in a row. It was all on Sunday Night TV last night. You see that Travis Kelce doesn't go in the tent when obviously he should have gotten taken to the tent. So while I'm not, listen, it's a passionate sport. We get it. I don't have as much of an issue with Daboll getting as upset as he was. I think that played in a little bit, but I mean, is there, I don't want to say, he's being targeted, Dart is, but it's a little weird that 3 weeks in a row and at a very crucial moment of the game, he's pulled into the tent yet again. And you have other guys, like I said, the whole world saw it last night with Kelce, and he doesn't go into the tent. So can you shed any light on that? Like, it just seems weird to me, right?
Couple things. There's an independent concussion spotter up in the booth whose job it is to pay strict attention to anybody who's showing signs or who seems to slam their head. So yes, Kelce should have gotten checked. He didn't. I don't think Dart's being targeted. I think certainly any quarterback gets extra scrutinized. I think that's without a doubt the case. We know how the NFL treats their quarterback. So I don't think that's Dart. I think if the same hits were applied to Patrick Mahomes, he would get those same tests. So I don't think that's Dart related. I think that's maybe quarterback related. And I think I read something. I don't know. I don't know. I don't have the exact answer. Shame on me. I think I read something about, I'll try to find it while you guys are talking. I think I read something specific about the way Kelce fell versus the way Dart fell. There might be some language in that, but I think more than anything, it's all eyes are on the quarterback. And if the quarterback's, goes helmet first into a player or into the turf, he's going to get checked more so than any other player.
Okay. I gotta jump in on that last thing you said, because it's really strange. Like if there's certain language, because last week, was it 2 weeks ago? I guess it was the Chargers game. I think it was a Chargers game. Chargers was a home game, right?
Yeah, it was.
Must have been a Chargers game. Dart was standing up, walking back to the huddle, and the ref got a call from the booth and sent Dart to the tent. Like after the play, like he didn't like lay on the turf. He wasn't slow getting up. He just took a shot, stood up, went back to call the play, and then like it was like the booth got to like make the determination if the player went into the tent. It seems like they have a little bit too much power.
Didn't Dart didn't he stay down on the turf for a second holding his head?
The other night he did.
Yeah, he did, right? So
But
two
the
weeks
Chargers
ago,
game, I don't think he did though.
No, but in the other night, I wasn't even really listening to what you were saying. I was going back through my notes, and I was going back to my notes because I wanted to answer Sean's question about why it's different. And I think Kelsey popped right back up after his, whereas Dart kind of almost alerted them himself by like grabbing his head. And then he tried to do the like fake out where he acted like he had a leg cramp or something like that. Where he started like flexing his leg to make the officials think that that's why he was down. Once you grab your head, you're done. Like once you grab your head, there's entity to the 10.
What I was saying, Ryan, was 2 weeks ago in a Chargers game, the booth sent him into the tent when he was walking back to the huddle to call the play. Like he didn't hold his head, he didn't lay down. He took a little bit of the shot on the I don't know what you want to call it. He dove head first, hit the ground, did not get hit. Got up, walked back to the tunnel, and the ref stopped the play and I get a call in his earpiece.
Well, he must have got buzzed. He got buzzed from upstairs.
That seems like a lot of power to have, because you can't determine if someone's hurt from the upper level booth.
It doesn't matter. With concussions, they're not taking chances. Like it doesn't. That's why there's not an independent ACL spotter. They're not taking. And somebody to spot if you're grabbing your calf and you might tear your Achilles on the next play. They don't care about that. The concussions, they're not taking, and they've had enough lawsuits, enough movies made. They don't care. Yeah, give that guy. They'll give that guy more power than God. That guy's job is to be overly cautious, not underly cautious.
Okay. All right. Next step then is the questions. And I'm not defending him here. I'm just trying to keep the innocent to proven guilty kind of a thing. Like, so yes, the Giants are going to get tagged. Dable's going to get tagged, or both. Is there any chance there's any, I don't want to say evidence, but is there any angle to this that makes Dable look better? Like, yes, he cursed out the doctor, but is there any chance like the doctor, ignited the conversation? Like, is there anything that can defend? No.
I mean, I don't know. Is there somebody on the grassy knoll? I don't know. I guess it's it's not going to matter, guys.
But why did he get so heated? I mean, he had to go
because that's who he is.
Yeah.
That's who he is. He runs hot. That's who he is. It's been a problem of his. That's who he is. So he said he needed to know how much time the concussion test was going to take, because it was going to affect his third and fourth down play calling and whether they punted or went for it. That's a nice story. You've been a head coach for 4 years. You were an offensive coordinator for 4 years. You know how long a concussion test takes. Like it wasn't your first one. They didn't just implement this rule. You know how long it takes. We know what it was. He didn't want to play with Russell Wilson. So like, if he was going to call a timeout, if it took only 2 minutes, he wanted to know. So like, it's a nice story. You can't do it. You're supposed to assume you don't have the guy unless you're told you do. So no, I mean, even if the doctor initiated the conversation, it's on Dable to listen, not scream back at the guy.
Sean, were you okay with him losing his mind, or were you like, oh, here we go again?
No, yeah, I got no problem with being emotional. I'm an emotional person, so I don't have a problem with it. I don't think he would. I mean, again, people are gonna have different takes than I
I
do.
don't think he
but
was trying to play a hurt player.
Yeah.
No, not at all. I don't think he was either. I think he was mad. I think it was
I
because
just
3
think he
weeks
was
in a
trying
row.
to
I
rush
think it
a
was.
process.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was frustrated not knowing. I do think there was some truth to what he said. I think it was just more of not knowing what was going on, the fact that he was in there yet again 3 weeks in a row, and it was at a crucial time of the game against a crucial
Then teach,
opponent.
then teach him to slide. I don't. What do you want me to tell you? Like,
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah,
unfortunately,
like it's
yeah,
not.
you know.
I mean, it is what it is, guys. Like you can't do it. He did it. Like it,
Yeah, that's fine.
it is like he knows he knows how long it takes. He got caught up in the moment, and he's gonna get fined for it. I mean, that's
Yeah, that's fine.
it,
I don't have a problem with the
it's
fine.
a hard. It's just the way it is. So
Yeah.
All right, then let me ask you a little bit about Dart when he's not in the booth, in booth gate or tent gate. Let me ask you about the wide receiver room, gentlemen. Hyatt had a nice day because he normally doesn't contribute at all. Wandale had a real nice day. As you said, Sean, Humphreys just made that one nice, whatever it was, 18-yard catch or whatever it was just fantastic because he went up, had a guy draped all over, made a great catch. Theo had one specific big catch where Dart made an unbelievable escape. Sean, start with you on how you thought the wide receiver room did overall, because again, you're playing against a very good Eagles defense, and the Eagles just could not make anything happen, So what do you think about the room? And then Sean, and then Ryan, I'm going to come to you with the rumors of Shane looking for
go
help.
for it.
Yeah,
go for it. It's tomorrow's story in the Post, and I'm just tweeting out the link while Sean talks. So
all right,
perfectly
go ahead,
timed.
Sean.
Breaking news. Look at that,
Yeah,
right?
I love
So
it.
I think overall they played pretty well. And here's what I liked about what I saw, and I mentioned it kind of with Humphrey earlier. So I think they played with a lot of energy. I think they played hungry. To me, it was the most energy I've seen that wide receiver unit have. I like that. What I really like is how they got Hyatt involved. Instead of just running him deep and hoping he can make a catch, they actually ran him some outs. They gave him a chance to be able to catch the ball, do some things, and I think that'll help build his confidence. But again, I'm going to keep saying it. I was impressed what they were doing with blocking. And as much as we were worried about one of our people not, one of our receivers not being there, I felt like they were better cohesive unit overall with a lot more energy without that person in the lineup. And yeah, there, Theo had a tough catch, probably, one you'd like to make him see, but it was a tougher catch than people realize. Humphrey had one, I think, in the end zone that he probably could have caught. But overall, I was happy with the unit, and what impressed me was they were blocking, and how Wandale on that touchdown, breaking the tackle, going up the sideline, Humphrey blocking for him, he gets in, right? Like that's what you want. That's what we've been waiting for. And what's impressed me about that wide receiver unit is Dart is getting them the ball where they can make plays, where he's leading them, he's hitting them in stride, so that there is that yak, which is what this offense is built around. So I like that they took advantage of that fact. And I loved having a 50-50 guy that's 6'4". Like it's nice to have that again.
Hey, listen, Hyatt, for the record, again, it's 3 catches for 17 yards, but all 3 of them contested. I mean, guys like playing him man-to-man coverage. He's looking to make a 5 to 6 yard catch. He's got DB draped all over him. Yep. I gotta give him credit. Like I said, like someone there, whether it was Kafka or the wide receiver coach saying, "Hey, this dude could do other things beside running go routes, right?" And all of a sudden he's running outs. He's contributing. Made a first down, nice first down catch on one. So again, I don't know what Hyatt is, but he feels a whole like more part of the team today than he was on last Wednesday.
What's important is that Hyatt felt that. Hyatt felt like part of the team after the game. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, a ball, I don't know if it was a drop, but I think there was a ball that went through his hands. Maybe it was a PBU earlier in the game, an incompletion to him, and Dart went back to him. And that meant something to Hyatt. Like this guy didn't lose confidence in me. I need to reward him. So we all know Hyatt's confidence is fragile. So the fact that he was part of it, I think, is important. And because if not, he was in danger of little Jordan Humphrey just taking over that number 3 spot. And the idea that Humphrey and Hyatt couldn't be more different as players, I think maybe together you have a guy who could be maybe between those two guys, if they split the reps, maybe you have a guy who could be productive.
Love it. So which leads to the bigger story, in the room is there's a whole lot of chatter about and with due right, we know that if the Giants want to make again, I don't know if they can win 8 games, but if they want to win some games, you do need more firepower. We love what Humphreys did. We already know what Wandale can do. Theo's coming on strong. Bellinger once in a while makes a play, but you really need a wide receiver that needs to be game planned against, right? You need somebody that they're scared of. So the rumor, Ryan, all day long is that Shane's been making calls looking for wide receiver help. Now, I don't know how much the story has been stretched. I don't know if that's a lot of just media chatter or social media chatter. What's really going on with, Joe Shane looking for help? Is it real? And if it is real, what does it look like from your perspective?
So that's what I spent my day on. And I can tell you that it's real. I talked to league sources. It's real that the Giants are looking to add a receiver. It's early stage stuff, doing due diligence, calling around to find out who might be available as we get closer to November 4th. I don't think they're looking to trade like a first round pick for insert mega name here. Like, they're not trading 2 firsts for T Higgins, anything like that. But it is real that they're looking for receiver help. I think 3 factors come into play. Read my story, guys, because I'm about to just give it away for you. So click on it anyway. 3 factors I think come into play. 1, they don't have a 2026 third round pick. So then they have to decide if they want to give up their 2027 third. Do they want to give up their 2026 second? Because once you're talking about a 4th round pick, that's a much lesser quality player. So they don't have a third because of the Dart trade. They do have 3 6ths. So if it comes to it, I guess they could do like a 4 and a 6 to get to a 3. But then you won't have a 3 or a 4. Second factor, could Deontay Banks be worth something? Like, they waited too long on Evan Neal to trade him, and now Evan Neal has no value. If they had traded him last year, maybe they get something for him. Could Deontay Banks right now have some value? Like, the Eagles aren't going to trade with the Giants, okay? But like, the Eagles' number 2 cornerback position is a nightmare. They're playing Kaylee Ringo and Adoree Jackson. So if the Eagles were in the AFC South, I would tell you, like, what about Jahan Dotson for Deontay Banks? Like, that seems like a doable, but you're not going to do it because it's the Giants and Eagles. But is there some other team that has no number 2 corner or number 3 corner that has an overflow of receivers? The Colts, Lions, and Packers were the teams I heard could fit those bills. We'll see if they match up. And then the third factor is, I think if the Giants are going to make a trade, it's not going to be for a rental. It's not going to be for like Jacoby Myers, who they would have to re-sign after the season. Like, I don't think that's what a playoff team does. I think if they make a trade for a receiver, it would be for somebody to help Dart get good, accelerate his development this year, and then maybe have some chemistry with him next year as like the number 2 or number 3 receiver next year. So I think it would be somebody under contract for 2026.
Interesting.
So I'll give you a couple names.
Yeah, please.
Okay.
On the high end of this scale, guys who are going to cost more money, I think Chris Olave and Jalen Waddle could be available in this league. Now, are they going to the Giants? Again, those are high-end names. Like Jalen Waddle's a legitimate number 2 receiver. Like,
Yeah.
That's another big contract. Olave has a $15 million team option. He's going to want a long-term deal. Are you going to extend him? He has concussion problems. But those are the 2 I would say are probably the best players. If you are if you are willing to take on a rental, Alec Pierce from the Colts and Rashid Shaheed from the Saints, I think could be had. Again, they're not under contract, so I don't love that option for the Giants. I don't think they would love that option. And then some guys who are under contract who I think could fit the bill, Jerry Jeudy, a Brian Daboll favorite from their Alabama days, and Dontavion Wicks from the Packers. He's still on his rookie contract. The Packers have an overflow of receivers once Christian Watson comes back. So I guess Christian Watson could be available. I picked Dontavion Wicks, a guy who has another year left on his contract and probably going to get squeezed out. There's just too many guys there, whether it's Matthew Golden, Christian Watson, Romeo Doubs. They have like 4 number 2 receivers. So I think those guys. Oh, and here's another guy, again, a free agent, but I think Jawan Jennings will be available from the 49ers. He's a big guy. He fits what the Giants are lacking, but again, he's a rental.
The interesting thing about, I'm listening to the list of teams. And I have no idea because I'm not a GM, but I'm not even close. But does the win-loss record come into play? Like the Colts may be feeling their oats, like, hey, we need to keep everything intact because we got a shot at a wild card. I can't be dishing off my number 2 receiver or my number 3 receiver. Or the Packers are always, in the playoff hunt. Do they want to upset their apple cart? Their roster solidified, they're winning. Do they want to turn around and fire off a guy?
Well, I think football has become more like baseball, guys, where the trade deadline wise, like, I don't think it has to be for a draft pick. Like, you could do a player for player trade. Like, the Packers record definitely comes into play. Like, they're not looking to give up on the season, but they have 4 receivers and they have a hole, and you can fill their hole. Then they can fill yours. Like, we can give you Dontavion Wicks if you. I don't know the Packers roster well enough, but like, sure, if I'm just thinking of where the Giants have like excess, like if they said, Josh Jacobs is on IR. I'm making this up. Josh Jacobs is on IR. We don't trust our backup running back. You give us Tyron Tracy, we'll give you Dontavion Wicks. Like, yeah, I think, or give us Devin Singletary, we'll give you Christian Watson. Like, yeah, I think there's a possibility they would do something like that. So I think player for player trades are real. So,
Sean,
I like it. I wouldn't even mind. I'm not even opposed to a 2027 third round pick. Like, if that gets somebody, because again, it's about darts development. It's about for the future. So if you get somebody that is going to be better than what you get in the third round of 2027, that's going to be good this year and good the following year and years after, absolutely go for it. Like third round. But I'm not saying that could happen, but I'm saying I'd be good with that. And you're right. A player for player, like, maybe a Banks or Adney Mitchell. Like maybe that works.
Yes,
that's right. That would make sense.
Sean, that's a great example. 2 guys who have been draft busts, knuckleheads that maybe need a change of scenery. I think that's a great example of a Deontay Banks for Adonai Mitchell. I don't know what the money is offhand, but it's got to be pretty similar. Both rookie contracts. That to me would make sense. Yes.
Yeah.
All right. So let's say, let me backtrack for a second. How long is this, in your estimation, Ryan? How long has this been in the works? Was this like Neighbors tears his ACL and then Shane is out there working, or is he feeling pressure as the weeks go on?
Well, I don't know when I say in the works, like, I don't know that there's anything, like, I don't know that they've, exchanged numbers or anything. I think they're just surveying the market. Like I said, due diligence. I don't want to make it sound like anything's works. I think anybody that's like, oh, they're close to getting something, they're not. This isn't close. This is like, we need to know, like, who's going to be available if this team falls out of it, if this team falls out of it, like who's going to be in the work. So like, I think they're doing that more at receiver than they are at other positions, but I don't know that there's anything more than just surveying the landscape right now. And how long has it been going on? Probably since the day after Malik Neighbors got hurt. I don't think it's something that like, oh God, well, now we beat the Eagles, we're in it. Like, I don't think it's a reaction to suddenly chasing a playoff spot. I believe it is more conscientious of furthering Jackson Dart's development without Malik Neighbors.
That makes me feel a whole lot better because I just sitting back and knowing that we're trying to win some games with the hand we're dealt is not an easy, it's not an easy game to play, right? You're dealing
but I do want to temper expectations, like I don't think if they make a trade, like it could be Dontavion Wicks, who like half the people on this podcast might be like, who the hell is Dontavion Wicks? It's not T. Higgins, it's not going to be T. Higgins.
Yeah. But help is needed. And at least there's some effort being put in because again, you lose the best player and your best offensive player. And all of a sudden you're like, well, how do they expect to win with Collins and, Humphreys and, so there gets to be a concern on like, is the season over? Are we throwing up our hands? Then you go out and you beat the Eagles and you're like, all right, well, they're good enough and can play with some of the big boys, but over the period of this season, you're going to need more firepower. So it's good to hear that there is some effort being placed on the position.
I mean, it seems like Jerry Jeudy makes the most sense because of the relationship with Daboll. He a fresh start would be really good for him. Get him out of Cleveland with that shit show going on, right? Like,
he was traded last year. What was he traded for?
I don't know if I don't remember offhand.
I can look it up.
It was like a fourth rounder, I think, wasn't it?
I think he was traded for.
We get it. Christian's in the back.
I got it.
Yeah,
I got it. He was traded for a 5th and a 6th last year. So he's better now than he was then, but he's better now than he was then, but he's also more expensive because he signed a new deal. So let's call it, let's say you could get him for a 4th and a 6th. Like the Giants might be interested in that.
It makes sense to me. Like, who are you going to draft in the 4th round that's better than Jerry Jeudy?
Well, but again, people always say that. I got to push back against that. People always say,
okay, go ahead.
Yeah, but the guy you draft in the 4th round is going to cost you $1 million, and Jerry Judy's going to cost you, $20 million or whatever. So like, he better be better. He better be 20 times better. Otherwise, like.
Yeah, right. Yeah, that's fair. I'll take that though. I'll take that. I'll take the extra money because they're going to have more money next year. They're in a good cap space the next couple of years. Cap's going to go up again for sure. And if it makes the team better and it helps our quarterback, and you pair Jerry Jeudy with Malik Neighbors, and you have him Wandale as your 1, 2, 3. I mean, that's a formidable wide receiver group.
Well, remember, Wandale's a free agent, so if you make a sizable move, you might be giving up Wandale after the season.
Well, that whole draft class needs to be re-signed.
Correct.
Like you're
not Kayvon. Not Kayvon, though. He's going to want to be re-signed, though technically you have him under contract.
Yeah, because he's got the option.
Because he's got the 5th year.
Yeah.
Because not that he's going to be happy about it.
No, but Kayvon, Wandale, McFadden, Bellinger, like all these guys got to be re-signed. So that's got to come into play, without a doubt.
Yeah, they won't all re-sign, but
no. Like
Belton's not coming back. Belton wants to have a better opportunity to play somewhere. Bellinger probably too. They've replaced him 7 times. So those guys are probably going to look for an option somewhere else.
Yeah, but Wandale, McFadden, and Tibbs seem to be.
McFadden injury is a killer for this season, but probably increases his odds of re-signing here. So
yeah, and I don't know how you really. I don't think you're in any position to let Wandale. And I'm not the biggest Wandale fan in the world from his size, but Dart may be the right quarterback to help him get where he wants to go.
Yeah, he's a better player than he gets credit for, I think. I like Wandale. I think he's a pretty good player.
Brian, let me ask you this quick, because we were talking player for player, just real quick. Do you think one of our other wide receivers could be a trade? Do you think like Slayton could be a player for player trade.
You know how I feel about Slane. He's here for a reason. He's here to
Yeah, I know.
he's here to
That's why I'm asking.
he's here to big brother everybody. No, I don't think he's a movable player right now. No.
Okay.
All right, let's shift gears because we got to talk some defense before we let you go. Last week there was a defense only meeting that took place. Got a lot of press. So I guess that's run by Dex and Burns. What was your thought, Sean, when you heard there was a defensive only meeting? Because it seems like that was, maybe, I don't know if it was necessary or not, but it seemed like there's a lot of good feedback that came out of it. And it also sounds like the defensive leaders are talking to Bowen about, dialing stuff up and playing a different type of style defense. So what's your first initial thought?
I love it. I felt it was needed, for one, and two, from what Burns said today, it wasn't, "Hey, we're calling people out." It was just more of, "Hey, we need you to do this. We need you to do this better." And I like that, and I like that they're talking. I mean, listen, that's what you want. Like, you want your coach to work with your players to come up with something that's going to work defensively. That's the sign of a good coach, is when he's listening to players, especially the players of caliber of Brian Burns, Kayvon Thibodeau, and Dexter Lawrence. Right? So I love it. I'm glad it was called. And getting back to Burns, like, Burns is showing that leadership, which is what this defensive unit has needed from that standpoint. Yes, Dex has been there, but he's a little more of a quiet leader in a regard, at least in the media and stuff. Burns is a little more outspoken about things, which I like. So I love that they called it. I think it was definitely needed, and you can see what has happened here. And I hope that this is, again, it's going to continue, and they're going to get even better, because when you have players and coaches working together to be good or great, if they want to be great, that's when you're going to find the success there.
You know what? I love that point, because for some of the younger folks that don't remember Tom Coughlin, but you've heard of Tom Coughlin, or maybe you were too young to watch the Tom Coughlin teams. Coughlin came in very gruff and pissed a lot of people off, and at one point he created the Players Council, and he had one guy from every group. So he had a tight end, a lineman, a linebacker, running back, so forth. Had about 6-7 guys on a player council, and they all got together to talk about what the rest of the team thinks and what's going on with that position group. I remember when they went to the Super Bowl, they had this back page. It was probably of the Post, Ryan, had a cartoon picture of all of the player council guys in a car riding off to the Super Bowl. And it always stuck with me that I think the best coaches do listen to their players, Sean. So I think your point's well taken, that it's good to see that they're taking the initiative to get their what together. And then that Bowen is listening to, like, hey, okay, if that's what you guys want to do, it's important.
Yeah, I think that, I think we spent a lot of time on this podcast last week on Bowen. You guys obviously didn't think he called it aggressive enough. He called it more aggressively this game. I think part of that is players encouraging him to. I think part of that is him slowly realizing that he has better players than he had last year. I think he got maybe caught a little off guard by the deficiencies of talent that he had last year, and maybe that made him go into a shell a little bit. And I think he's coming out of it now that they have some better players. So I do think there is a give and take there that is still developing. They called him the Cordell Flott Blitz Zero is something I don't think you would have seen him call earlier in this season. So I do think there's some give and take there. I do think there's some communication. Kayvon praised Bowen as a coach who listens to his players. I think that's one of the best compliments a player can give a coach.
Mm-hmm.
So I do think that you might see a little bit more aggressive play calling now. Daboll said he also encouraged Bowen to be more aggressive. There's probably something to, Wink got fired for being too aggressive. So why should Bowen want to be aggressive? So I think there's probably a lot of things coming together behind the scenes that might lead to a little bit more aggressive style of defense. And, obviously they also ended the cornerback 2 rotation
Thank you.
last week. So that maybe had a little bit, he was playing with Deontay Banks and Drew Phillips, who are 2 guys. Drew Phillips is having a very good year, but he gets a lot of penalties. He's handsy. Adebo, his whole career has been very handsy. He got a lot of penalties with the Saints. So people want Shane Bowen to do these really aggressive things, but he has guys who tend to get penalties. And then you'll scream about like, well, why is he playing press coverage with guys who tend to get, physical 5 yards beyond the line of scrimmage? So I do think he's had to learn his personnel, and that might take 6 weeks.
Both sides of the ball. What I again, I sit in the lower bowl on the 22-yard line, 22 rows up. A lot of energy in his stands, and what I noticed, like on both sides of the ball, on the offensive side of the ball, I watched Scatterboo run over Blankenship 4 times. I mean, if you're Blankenship, you were like, I'm not hitting this guy anymore. He keeps running me over. And then on the defensive side, like the attacking style, I mean, guys like Carter was, again, he might not have those numbers or those flashy numbers, but he's so fast. I am telling you right now, I don't know what the NFL's watching. The dude gets held 50% of the time. He has got an arm bar across his neck like this. He's got his helmet being pulled up. You're not supposed to go outside the shoulder pads. Every single block on Abdul Carter is outside the shoulder pads. I know there's holding on every play. I get it. But that poor guy, like, I don't know if it's a welcome to the NFL thing, but they don't give him any calls. But the pounding style of the offense and the defense is definitely, refreshing. And I think that comes from, and Sean, you mentioned it last week, that, these guys are energizing guys because they're physical. And they're loving Dart. They're loving Scatterboo. And all of a sudden, Theo's getting physical. And now the other side of the ball, Burns is being physical. Tibbs, who doesn't strike me as a physical guy at all, is being physical, right? He's setting the edge.
He knocked the pulling guard on his ass in Philly.
Exactly.
Like, when's the last time we've seen that happen? Like, and he's doing the right stuff in the offseason. And I think we do need to give Tibbs a lot more love than we've been giving him. And this season he has been playing his ass off, and the work he put in the offseason, Ryan, you can speak to this too. The work he put in the offseason, the wrestling, it's paying off. Like, you're seeing a different Tibbs this season.
I think it's 3 things. I think it's 1, the work in the offseason, which comes with maturity. I'm going to put those together. 1, the work in the offseason with maturity, the wrestling, all that. 2, playing for a contract. Nothing against Kayvon. We know how sports work. Guys find extra gears in their contract, in their year when they're looking for a new contract. 3, the rotation. I think he has much fresher legs. Like, between the 3 of them, maybe taking a few snaps off, because of, there's Carter, Tibbs, and Burns. They're getting a little bit more, Tibbs is out, I think, on the second series of most games. That's when Carter comes in after Tibbs starts. I think maybe they're all have a little bit fresher legs, and I think that's helping.
Yep. All right, tomorrow, the Ryan's breaking the story on the wide receiver room and what Shane's been doing, behind the scenes. So, Ryan, when's the story? What time's the story releasing?
It's already up.
All right, people, make sure you're following Ryan. 2, make sure you go check out. If you want to get he gave us a little high level view of what Shane's doing. If you want to get nitty and gritty, go check out the story on the post.
Let me shout out one of your commenters, K-Mac. K-Mac, that's a really interesting point you might see mentioned in the post at some point this week. That's a really interesting. Yeah, that one about Denard. Like, Denard Wilson picked the Titans for their stability or whatever. And now, obviously new head coach, probably a new DC. That's a really interesting point I had not thought about.
There you go. See, we've got some smart people out there in the comments. Well, look, again, I know, Ryan, you don't want to hang out with us all night. We're going to let you go. We'll see you next Monday. But by the way, again, make sure you guys are following Ryan. Make sure you guys are checking out the story. It's already up. If you're tooling around the internet, you want something to read, or save it for tomorrow's coffee. if when you wake up. And Ryan, we're gonna hope for some more success. So when we talk next Monday, this could be a 3-win team.
It could be. Put it this way: as I go, I'll leave you with this. I got to go tuck my kids in. I'll leave you with this. The Giants are unpredictable in the best way. For the 5 years, 4 out of the 5 years, they were the most predictable team in the world. They're going to lose to this good team. They're going to lose to this good team. They're going to lose to this good team. They might not even score a touchdown. I have, from the minute the schedule opponents were known in January, I was like, lost to the Broncos. And I never changed my mind until Thursday. And now I'm like, they could beat the Broncos. They are unpredictable in they're unpredictable in the best way. And that they could lose. They could very easily lose. That's a really good team. But there's a chance they win. And 12 days ago, I would have told you there was no chance they win.
Love it. So, I will see you next week, my friend. Always a pleasure to have you. Ryan's rocking his 90s flannel, which is always good. So we will see you next week. And like I said, they could lose, but they could win.
They could win.
Fine.
See ya.
See you, Ryan.
All right, guys, we're gonna jump into Christian. If you're out there, hit my 2-minute drill because we're gonna answer some questions from the peeps. Or I can hit it. I think it's in the library. It says 2-minute. Dang, that was it. Perfect. Thank you, sir. 2-minute drill is where I'm going to roll through a bunch of questions and fire them out to Joker over here and see.
We got some good ones in the chat tonight. You're going to get some good Joker reactions here.
Yeah. So let me scroll all the way back up. Let's see. And if I didn't acknowledge all of you, that's why we do the 2-minute drill. Cole says that intro was tough. Thank you, Cole. We want to say we stepped it up, but we asked Christian to throw us a bone and help us out. So he has definitely stepped up the graphics, Cole, and he's helped us out tremendously. JMS played best game of his career. Blah, 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 blah. Yeah, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. Sean, best, you on board with this? Best game of his career so far?
Oh, absolutely. I wasn't saying it. Give JMS time. Give him time, and you're going to see. And he's been playing better than people realize this season. And yeah, it was his best game by far. So I'm all for it. I'm bored. I agree.
I do too. Thank you, Tudo. You're one of the OGs, buddy. We always thank you for hanging out and throwing us a bone there. I always appreciate that. Thank you, sir. Let me find some other questions. Oh, here we go. Oh, you're reading my mind. Will the Giants' identity going forward become young, tough, aggressive team that no team looks forward to playing against, similar to 22 Lions with a slow season start, but much hotter second half? Okay. I could probably at least try to take this one.
Okay.
One is the Giants over the last 4 years have been at the forefront of the youngest team in the NFL. So I can't say, yes, they are young, but they have been young, right? They were the second youngest team in 22, and then they pretty much carried that theme for a while. So yeah, they've always been young, Sean, right?
Yep.
So yeah, tough. Well, yeah, they were always had some tough players, but the leader of the team is tough, and he is out there laying it on the line for his team, and that's catching on fire. So yes, so right now, as Ryan just said, the Giants are probably considered to be tough and aggressive, but unpredictable, like Ryan just said, because you don't know what you're going to get. Listen, the Giants did crap the bed against the Saints, right? So they are unpredictable, but young and tough and aggressive is what you're seeing more than not. So I don't know if we're quite at that stage where people are like, oh man, the Giants are coming. We're not quite there yet, but it's getting there. And this time next year with a healthy Malik Neighbors, I think you might have some teams worried about, what the Giants bring to the table. Because look, the Giants could easily get blown out against the Eagles in 2 weeks in Philadelphia. That can happen. Doesn't mean that they're not tough and aggressive, and unpredictable. So I think Slightly similar to the 22 Lions, right? A lot of young cats that are out kicking their coverage. No doubt about it. And what I like about your comment, Sean, is about much hotter in the second half is the Giants have not been able to pivot at all during any game or any point of the season. It's like, this is what we are. This is what you get. You're now saying, you're starting to see them coming out one way and then making a change. Like we just talked about, the linebackers look terrible in the first half, look better in the second half, right? So you're seeing a little bit of the maturity, the coaches and the players. Yeah, 100%, Sean. I hope that answers your question, but I think that would be your identity, is because your quarterback leads the way, right?
Yes.
Like Daniel Jones, nice guy, no problem, but he didn't have that fire like Dart does, because now it's not just Dart, it's Dart and Scatterboo. And then when Neighbors is back, it'll be Dart and Scatterboo and Neighbors, right? And then Theo and so forth. And it catches on. I'm telling you, the stadium is rocking. And I'm telling you, MetLife Stadium has been a bore fest for 98% of the games.
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
Well, listen, great question from a guy with a great name and spells it the right way. So what do you expect from a guy named Sean? I mean, come on.
Juan Dale had an extra gear on Thursday. I'll throw that to you. Looking lightning fast.
Yeah, absolutely. He's always had that extra gear. He just wasn't, we saw early in the Cowboys, right? The Cowboys game this year, we saw his speed on deep routes, right? So we see that he can do it. And again, that extra gear, people are playing energized. There's fire with Dart and Scatterboo leading the way. People want to match their energy. So these guys are not, they're doing it. So yeah, I mean, I've said all along, Wandale is a lot faster than people realize. He's a 4.4 guy. So that's pretty fast.
And he came off a knee injury. So, he might, I don't know for a fact, but he might have lost a little bit of the step, who knows? But right now, with this quarterback and his style, Wandale's going to play some of the best football in his career. Let's see. Dart threw a near perfect pass to Jordan. That would have been a TD had he held on to it. Yeah, I'm with that. But I'm also realizing that, we haven't had a 50-50 ball. Kudos to Sean for bringing that up before. We haven't had a 50-50 ball guy. That catch he made, that 18-yard catch or 18-yard catch, whatever it was. I mean, under normal circumstances, outside of Neighbors, no one else catches that on the team. So he's bringing something refreshing. So, yes, it might have been a pretty dang good pass. But, Theo dropped one right over the middle, too. And, I mean, he had a guy kind of draped on him a little bit, but these guys do. I used to say, listen, one of my favorite all-time players was Jeremy Shockey. Okay, and I don't know how old you are, Sean, but Jeremy Shockey, who probably, depending on how old you are, was the best tight end the Giants ever had, or second best if you're a Bavaro person, right? But let me tell you about a cat that could make the easy pass look hard or drop it, and then make the most spectacular catch you've ever seen a tight end make. So, I'm not killing Humphreys because they won, and he was a big part of why they won. So I'm just glad they brought him up and gave him a shot.
Yep.
K-Mac. Already like a lemonade. Tyson Chris Bell NY looks like a very receiver class. Yep. I mean, go ahead. You want to take that one, John?
Yeah, well, I'm going to tie it in with somebody else, so we'll do a twofer here. I'm going to address this too. So I think I know what K-Mac's talking about, and it ties into what Sean was also saying. So these guys are saying they don't want to give up draft picks or valuable assets to get a receiver, and they're one about a quick fix. So here's the thing. It's not a quick fix. They're not doing it to try to help this season. They're doing it for long term. If they're going to get a guy, which is what Ryan said earlier, they're doing it to help Dart's development for this year and to be the number 2 next year to pair with Malik Neighbors. So I'm absolutely fine. I'm not waiting for a receiver class to come in and do it right now. Again, if you can get a Jerry Jeudy, if you can get a Jalen Waddle, established guys who are good, then yes, give me that guy. And again, we're not talking about giving up a first or second round pick. If you can give up a 2027 third round pick or player for player, absolutely bring me in a number 2. I don't care what Slayton does, because again, Slayton drops the ball. He has the fumble. We know what Slayton is. He's not a number 2 wide receiver. And I said it all offseason. I was banging the table for them to sign T. Higgins. Remember, right? We talked about wide receiver 2 all offseason. So it hasn't changed in my mind. Get yourself a wide receiver 2, because he's going to be wide receiver 1 this year, and he's going to be here for years after that. So I'm fine with that. We don't always need to wait for draft picks. Draft picks are not gold. They're not gold. You can give up a lower round draft pick or player for player. Get yourself a guy who can come in and help, regardless if they make the playoffs or not. He's going to help, and he's going to be there for next year.
Listen, the Chiefs, the Seahawks, and I don't remember if it's the Rams. Oh, the Patriots. They traded out of the first round probably, 5 out of the last 6 years, something like that.
Yeah.
Like if you add up all those numbers, like Seahawks, the Chiefs, the Rams, Patriots, they're very aggressive. They want to collect more picks. Yeah, so they move around. So they're like, even though the first round pick sometimes is a shoo-in, as we know, it's easy. They were willing to trade out to get more picks. So, you got to be smart, and sometimes you got to take chances. I mean, I don't think a guy like Waddle's coming here under any circumstances, because Waddle feels he's like a number 1 and he doesn't want to be number 2 to Neighbors. So I don't think Waddle is a guy that would come to the Giants. But I do.
Well, I'm going to push back on that, because he's a number 2 in Miami. He was a number 2 to Tyreek Hill.
I'm saying that's the point. He doesn't want to be a number 2. He's leaving to go be a number 1 somewhere else.
Maybe. I think
I'm
he's
just saying
right
that's
I get it though.
You know what I mean? Like Waddle's thinking this. Okay, I get my only chance. I'm going somewhere where I'm gonna get 10 targets a game, and I'm gonna be the number 1. Like he's already a number 2. He doesn't have to go anywhere, right? Where a guy like Judy, because he knows Dabes, and I'm sure Judy's looking at what what Dart did at Ole Miss, and he probably thinks, man, I can go in there and get seven targets a game, and I can take over while Neighbors is out. Like I think, and I don't love or hate Judy's game, but I think he's kind of a fit for the Giants, actually. So
he is. I mean, I'd be okay with Banks for, like I mentioned earlier, I would be good with a Banks for Adney Mitchell. It's 2 guys that need a fresh start. Mitchell brings good speed. He's got some things here and there, but the only thing about him is I don't know if he's going to be, can he be that number 2? So, again, you don't have to give up a lot to get him, but I would like to have an established, for sure, number 2 guy, not a reclamation project. So that's why I like Waddle and Judy. I do like Judy. I think you get him out of Cleveland. That's a fresh start for him, because that's a shit show there. Holy cow, Cleveland. Jeez.
Yeah. And I didn't mean that Sean doesn't know Shockey. I was talking about, like, if anybody, we sometimes we get some young guys on the pod that don't know Shockey very well. So yeah. Okay. K-Max says Tibbs said the edge has been nice to see and watch. He played great on Thursday. Yeah. Came 100%. I am like cold. I think he made a comment too. Very critical of Tibbs because he comes across a little bit soft. He's only got one pass rush move, and it's usually an inside cross your face play, and he never sets the edge. He has done some really good work in the offseason, setting the edge, and to learn how to tackle and be more physical to impose his will. And he's been playing, again, I don't know. I guess if you get I don't know if he's playing first round worthy football, but he is playing the best football of his career right now. It just may turn out where he's not the dynamic pass rusher that, say, Carter's going to be, but it doesn't matter. He's playing really good football right now. I mean, at the end of the day, he could be a trade piece too, that you have Carter, but there are people out there that would talk about that. He's got a 5th-year option, so I don't see him going anywhere. And yes, K-Mac, he did play great on Thursday. All right, what else we got? Is there a couple more stuff in here, or we need another Plax type receiver? Somebody can go up and get it. Yeah, I mean, Sean, you could take this one if you want. I mean, yeah, because those are
I agree.
Plax receivers aren't easy to find.
No, they're not, and that's why I like what little Jordan Humphrey did because he's that 50-50 guy. I just don't know if the offense calls for a guy like that. It seems more of like the neighbors, the Wandale, Slayton types, Hyatt types. But yeah, I'd be all for that. But again, if they're looking at Judy, if they're looking at Waddle, like if they're looking at guys like that, they're not that tall guy that's out there or Olave. Like I'm again. I'd be for it, but I don't know who you're going to get that's out there. Wicks, I think Wicks is taller, if I'm not mistaken, from Green Bay. That wouldn't be, he's a young guy that's there. So
Yep.
it just a matter. And if Humphrey can keep doing what he's doing, I thought, again, we talked about it here. I thought he had a good shot to make the roster. Like he was one of my guys that it was between him and Bo Collins that I thought could make the roster. So now that he's up there, let's see if he can keep doing it. If he can keep doing it, I feel a lot better about our receiving core. And I'd be even fine with one of our other receivers getting less reps. So,
Well, he's not playing right now, so I don't think you have to worry about that.
Well, we'll see if he plays this weekend.
Yeah. And no, Cold, of course I didn't talk to Waddle. It's common sense that anybody who's a number 2 wants to be a number 1. That's why, let's take the Mac Jones. Mac Jones, is the backup quarterback for, what do you call it? And now is thrust into the starting position for the 49ers. Mac Jones wants to be a starter somewhere and be the number 1, right? He doesn't want to just back up Purdy. I'm just kind of painting the picture that if Waddle leaves, he's leaving to go start somewhere and be a number 1. Makes sense. 11 season games left for the Giants. Will a 6-5 win the loss record or better in that span save Davis' job provided Dart continues to play well? I turned 50 years old this to remember Shockey. Right on, man. Love Shockey.
We're about the same age, same name, same spelling, just about the same age. I like this guy.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's like you can't be in the same room. We can't have Sean and Sean. All right, so I'll send that one to you. Can they go? Well, if they go 6-5 over the rest of the season, does that save Davis' job?
Well, that puts him at what, 8 and 9? Yeah, I think it does. And if Dart develops, I mean, at 8 and 9, it might put him in a playoff, wild card spot, right?
If Giants win 8 games,
there.
there's not a shot on the planet that he loses his job.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. That's why we talk about Dart's development. Get him a guy that's an established receiver now as well to go with that. But yeah, I do. I think if they win 8 games, Davis is back. Back because you're gonna look at that guy. We won 8 games without Malik Neighbors, and now we got Malik Neighbors back next year. Yeah, he's back.
I'm looking something up because someone in the comments is super sarcastic, so I'm looking up a answer here.
Yeah, he's old school cold. Getting after you tonight, Craig.
Yeah,
he's been easy on you the last couple weeks, so he's
he's he look at the rant. Put a Christian, throw up Cole's comment at 8:49. No, not that one. The other dumb thing he said. Look at the rant. They won a Super Bowl with no pick, damn near picks. Like, yeah.
No first round pick for 5 years in a row.
I mean, man, these teams, they just trade these picks away. Like, it's insane. It's crazy. Like how many times the Eagles or the Rams. Now again, yeah, the Rams were ready to win, but some teams they don't care. They just want picks, right? So, the draft pick is not always the goal you think it is, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes you need to go for it when the season is now. He's not Cold. I hear you're saying that maybe Waddle isn't a number 1, but I would think he would want to bet on himself and go somewhere to try. Don't you? I don't know. The offense
he wasn't the
definitely-
number one in college either for a while. Remember, he had to share the spotlight with a Bama receiving corps when he was there. So
Yeah.
I hear what you're saying. I just think I think he wants to go. Honestly, I think he wants to go somewhere where he can thrive, and it doesn't have to be as number one. I think he wants to go somewhere where there's a quarterback who can get him the ball, right? Like I know, Tua was there and they were together there at Bama, but I don't know. And again, he may not. I don't know what he's thinking and what Miami's thinking and what they're doing. I mean, because the owner came out and said, or there's a report that came out and said that they're not going to fire their head coach. So who knows? I think Jerry Jeudy makes the most amount of sense for Dabs. He commented on him. I don't know if they commented on today or they pulled up a comment that Dabs had said about him before. So to me, it makes a lot of sense to get Jerry Jeudy. It's just a matter of what Cleveland wants.
And you're right, Cole. The offense does rely on smaller dudes because if you remember the Buffalo years, it was Beasley and McKenzie, right? So they love that yak, short guys underneath and a big tight end. Again, they had Knox, which is still in Buffalo, but Knox was more like a big wide receiver. I think he had like his 8 touchdowns his rookie year. So we will have more of the enormous, big-bodied blocking, catching type of wide receiver. I mean, tight end. So, but yeah, you're 100%. Day 3 picks are fool's gold. The first 2 days, I don't get rid. Oh, I think Drew, you got cut off there. Jacoby Myers is the guy, expiring deal, so we won't have to worry. Issue long term, should be low cost. Jacoby Myers, okay.
Yeah, but see, what Ryan said earlier, I agree with what Ryan said. I don't think you're going to bring in a rental. They're not going to bring in a rental. So they want a guy, and I think you want a guy that's going to be here long term. Now, do you mean like long term? He's going to be low cost long term, or he won't be here for long term? Because that changes things. So I want to clarify on that one.
Yeah, I don't know if I think I'd prefer Jeudy.
To me, it's Jeudy and Waddle make the most sense. I think they'll thrive in this style offense. They're guys that run good routes. They get open. They fit Daboll's offense. But yes, I would go Jeudy or Waddle.
Yeah, Waddle's a funny character. I mean, it's what happens when you get on the wrong team. Some of these guys just struggle. You need the at the end of the day, you need the quarterback, right?
Yeah.
You need the quarterback at the end of the day. So, still
guys are going to want to play for Dart. That's the good thing. Guys are going to want to play for Dart.
I mean, anyone you bring in, got to figure out how they fit with Neighbors next year. You want a long term? Yeah, 100%. I mean, Neighbors is always going to be the guy, but again, sometimes you have a system that can't. There's not enough balls to go around, and sometimes you have a quarterback. Like I told you before, Hyatt had 3 catches, Wandale 6, Humphries with 4, Theo with 2. Dart strikes me as a guy that's not afraid to go through progressions and spread the ball around. So I think a guy like Waddle would still fit. I don't think he would feel alienated, on this team. So Waddle could be a fit, but Jeudy seems to have. I don't know. Maybe Jeudy still has a relationship with Daves. Who knows, right?
Yeah, you got to find a guy, whoever it is. You got to find a guy who knows how to get open and find the quarterback when he's scrambling. That'll be key. So whoever that guy is, that's what it is.
Oh wait, I got it. Why? Okay. Hey Steve, thanks for checking in. What? I mean, I don't know why I would say that he's ass. He just handed the Eagles an ass kicking, 34-17. He dialed up 1,200 yards and 10 touchdowns for Neighbors last year and 1,000 yards from scrimmage from Tracy. I mean, saying he's ass. I mean, I'm not saying the guy doesn't have issues or he doesn't have flaws, but they all do. I don't know. I don't know where that comes from. The scheme is bad. I don't know if the scheme is bad. How can we justify it? The scheme is bad. It's like this. I can give you a car and you drive it at 50 miles an hour, or I drive the car at 100 miles an hour. It's all what you do with the car that you're given, the keys, right? And how you drive it. And if Kafka is not capable of creating a dynamic offense, I don't see how that's Dave's doing.
No,
right?
Right. If the plays aren't in rhythm, that's on Kafka. That's not on Dayball. That's on the play caller. And that's what we've talked about a lot here, Craig, right? I've said it a
Yep.
lot
Yep.
is Kafka doesn't have feel for game. Now I'll give him his kudos. He called a good game on Thursday night for sure. He was definitely better. But yeah, if you're saying that the plays aren't rhythm, if they don't make sense, that's on Kafka. That's not on Dayball. Dayball's not calling plays. That Kafka is calling the plays. He doesn't have the feel and the rhythm for game. That's where he lacks, in my opinion, is just not having a feel for the game. He doesn't set plays up. They don't make sense. We'll see if he continues to get better at that or not.
It is. We said it when we all freaked out over the Saints game. He just doesn't have a very. Now again, he called a great game this past Thursday. So maybe he's turned the
Yes.
corner a little bit, right? He
Yeah.
might have turned the corner a little bit on the personnel, because he has shown nothing in 3 years for understanding the flow of an offense. I mean, his substitutions are odd. You know, the fact that he won't run anything past the sticks and everything is a rub route, and you know, there's no out and ups, there's no crossers, there's no screen,
No screen passes.
Yeah.
Like he better call some screens next week against, this coming Sunday against the Broncos, because their pass rush,
Yep, is good.
you got to keep them off balance. So they're better. I better see some screens, because there's no screens the other night either. I just, it's like he's allergic to the screenplay. And we saw it all preseason. That's what I don't understand.
And by the way, there's all sorts of screen passes to run. You can run a screen pass out of the backfield. You can run a center screen where the back
Yep.
is basically standing behind the center. You can do the old Amani Toomer Plaxico burst wide receiver screen down the line of scrimmage. Like, there's a lot of ways to attack it, and Kafka does it. But I can't kill a guy who just scored 34 points against
No.
the Eagles. I mean,
No.
the fact that the Giants are turning the ball over, sacking the quarterback, getting off the field on third down, something's working. So I can't kill Dable, and I'm not killing Kafka today, but he hasn't been good, and that's fact. So I'm leaving it, I'm leaving it there. Steve, you have guys, if the Giants continue to feature running attack with Scat leading the charge, will we ever activate Evan Neal? I thought if nothing else, Neal could at least help run block. I mean, right now the running game is, like I said, it's working well without Neal, and we just had Ryan Dunleavy on Sean, who said Neal really doesn't have any value right now.
No, you can't trade him for anything, and you're not going to mess with the offensive line when they're playing good. So Neal's not going to get in, and that's okay. Like if the line is going good, don't mess with it. And what's funny is I'm looking at Steve's other comment, and he's actually making our point for us, even though and I say this with all the respect in the world, because Steve, we love having you on, but you're actually making our point about Kafka doesn't have a feel for the game, because yes, it's in Daboll's system, but he's not calling the plays. Where last year Daboll was calling plays, there was a rhythm, there was a feel, things were set up, and
Correct.
Kafka is good with the first scripted plays, and then he struggles after that because he doesn't have a feel for the game. So Daboll's influence is in the scripted plays, and then when you get off script, that's on Kafka.
Yes.
So you make a good point here, Steve, just not the way you were thinking you were making it.
Exactly.
So, and I mean that, I mean that respectfully.
100%. Yeah. And we're just basically kind of riffing along that point, is that, yeah, the scripted plays get him where he needs to go, but during the game when you need to pivot because you need something else, it doesn't normally happen. But again, there's a possibility that he's turned the corner, and because the biggest rub is that he doesn't understand his personnel. He doesn't use them correctly, right? And finally, we saw a couple things, like I said, like that rollout that Theo did, when got a big catch towards the sideline when Dart rolled out, and then you got the Wandale stick and go on the sideline. Like, you're starting to see, and Dart, I told you this a while ago, he's like Tin Cup. He's going to try to make that throw 4 out of 5 times, so he's not afraid to sling it. So I mean, just in general, Kafka needs to kind of build off of what he just did this week, right?
Yeah, it does. I think Kafka is just too intellectual, and that hurts him in the play calling. And again,
you could say it, he's a stiff.
Oh, yeah, he's a stuff, but he's this extremely smart guy, like an
Oh, yeah.
extremely smart guy, and that can work against him because you're overthinking things instead of kind of seeing what's going on with the game and understanding the feel for the game. So let's hope again. We want to build off him. I got no complaints this week other than not running one screenplay. It would have been nice to run one screenplay, but I'm not killing him this week because we got the win. We scored as many points as we did. So I want to see him, and the same with the Giants. I want to see him build off of this as a team and not regress now against Denver. Like this was a great win. I think they needed it. I think absolutely they needed it, and I hope it's one of those like, you know, turning point kind of wins for them.
Just because he came from Andy Reid doesn't like mean that he had control over the offense and he was, pushing the narrative on what kind of offense they should be. Okay, big deal. He came from Andy Reid. They ran Andy Reid out of Philadelphia because the offense was bad when McNabb was there, because it was Brian Westbrook right, Brian Westbrook, left, in these short little out routes. So I don't know. Like Andy Reid's a great coach, and especially when he's in the right system. There's plenty of coaches that leave one system, go to another system, and suck, right? Or they leave. They're the quarterback coach, and then they go and become the offensive coordinator and can't get it done. Like I don't know how it happens, but I mean, look, Kafka's a smart guy from Northwestern. He was a quarterback, but it's very outside of this past week. His game plans, execution-wise, have been stiff, rigid, right? It hasn't been very fluent. Like, do what you got to do to win the game. Find an open. Like, why do you think Kelsey's so smart? Kelsey just basically rubs or a chip route on the tackle and then slides out into open space. It's just like part of the game plan that they know Kelsey's going to find an open spot, and it becomes part of the system. Kafka hasn't gotten to that point where there's a flow to it. It's right. Very monotonous. And like, what do we do here? We do this. Like, you don't see a lot of splash plays or, exciting, unique plays. I mean, I wish I had an answer, Cole, but I don't want to put too much stock in because he comes from Andy Reid's system, because how many coaches do we know that were terrible coaches came from great systems?
I mean, and listen, look at Eric Bieniemy when he went to Washington. Like, he wasn't able to call a good offense there. And how much of these quarterback coaches and OCs are doing is really more about Reid, and that's why they can't go somewhere else. Who's the OC now for Kansas City that was the Bears coach? Why can't I think of his name right now? He's back being OC again, and the Chiefs offense is struggling with him calling plays. So. Yep. And it seems he's calling it. So,
but Cole just says, you should learn, and that's it. Like, this happens every day in the NFL where guys get promoted and are bad, right? How many guys do we have that quote unquote should have learned?
Yeah, it's one thing to learn and you're going to know things. It's another thing when you get in the game and you got to do it for yourself and you got to understand, you got to have a feel. Like I said, I'm hoping that he's learned from it. I'm hoping he can build off of this, because I do feel the game was better. I do feel he had a better feel. He's calling. They went a little more no huddle or like hurry up offense, which is to Dart's strength. So I'm hoping he can build off it, because we need it. Like, we need him to be good. As much as we criticize Mike Kafka, we need him to be good for the rest of this year. And I want him to be good. We're just going to call him out when he's not, just like we call out everybody else when they're not good, right? Like, we're honest, we're real when it comes to things. If you're good, you're good. If you're not, you're not. Like, we're going to let them know. And that's what we do here.
Feel the game, like Sean repeatedly says, is paramount. Yeah, you have to be able to have a feel for the game. Like, what do I do in this situation? Who can rise to the occasion in this situation? I mean, like, perfect example. Last week, we're running the tight ends with success in the first half of the game, and then he just goes away from it. Just disappears. It's removed from the game plan. He pivots away from it. There's no feel for the game. Anyone be like, this is working. I'm going to stay with this until they stop it. And then when they expect it, I'm going to throw something else out their way. And he doesn't do it. Right. You have to have, you got to have some understanding of your personnel and who does what well. And
Yeah.
you got to know when to like run that trick play or when to run that counter or when to actually like I love the fact that they bring Bellinger in and he always scores a big play, but I hate that they don't use him anymore. Right. Like you should feel these guys get hot. Right.
Yeah. I mean, what I will give him credit for is he stuck with the run game. He saw Scatterbo was doing well. He didn't try to get too pass happy. He went with what was working, and I like that. If you can like don't give up on something just because you got to do this or you got like man, utilize the run game. Like utilize the run game. That's going to set everything up. We scored what 34 points with utilizing a run game, right? Like that was the key there with the mix. You need a balance now. Defensive coordinators are adjusting NFL. You're not going to have 400-yard passing games anymore. Like they've really adjusted. They're taking away the big play. They're going too high safeties. Like, and I don't think enough fans have realized that, Craig, is the NFL is cyclical. You and I have known this because we're old as shit and we've seen a lot of football. It's everything comes back around. It's going to be 1 year where OCs are ahead of the game and they're putting up a lot of points. And then it's going to be, after a few years, DCs are going to adjust, make changes. And we're seeing that now. And we're seeing the running game come back because they're playing cover 2 and what you can run against cover 2. And that's what fans have to understand is this is why things are happening the way they're happening.
All right, it's the last one we're going to take, and we're going to bounce.
Okay.
Steve, thank you very much for hanging out. The 2-minute drill has definitely become the 15-minute drill, but we always like to try to answer everybody's questions. How do you justify all the bad decisions on personnel, putting Dory a kick return? Personnel is a very complex scenario because of who gets hurt, who's available. Sometimes you make a mistake and put guys in position. So, like, there's a couple of ways to look at personnel, Steve. For one is, not everybody is a great. I made this. We talked about this last week. I mean, Howie Roseman might be the best GM in football, but it didn't start out that way. They wouldn't even give him the reins. They made him split the GM duties with, what's his name, who went to Oregon. Why am I just all of a sudden, Chip Kelly?
Kelly.
So, and then after Chip Kelly got fired, they made him GM. And he was bad for, I think, 3 or 4 years. They were pretty bad. And then he finally figured it out. I'm not saying I'm the most patient person in the world, but personnel is not an easy thing. It takes a while to figure out your style or what works for you. I mean, if you start looking at the personnel moves from a draft perspective, he's gotten better pretty much every single year, or at least that blip in 2003 was bad. But the 2002, the 2004, the 2005, it's getting better. What he's not great at, okay, is free agency. I don't think he's overly great at those moves, but that also, he has the player personnel department to help him there. And yes, sometimes, if anything, he's not great at game day rosters, between not having a punt returner, not having a kicker, not having, a kick returner. Like, he's the Shane Dabes combo does need to grow and get better at game day roster and personnel. But look, did anyone believe that little Jordan Humphreys was going to come in and like rock it? No, and he did. Sometimes they brought Gunner back, right? When last year we had a lot of was it Smith Marquette? Was that
Smith Marquette? Yeah.
Smith Marquette had a great year last year. They bring Gunner back, and Gunner's crushing it right now. He's averaging 30 yards a kick return on punts. And I think it's 25 on kickoffs. Like, they only get credit, Steve, for the bad moves, right? We don't ever highlight the good moves because we have a tendency to complain, because we want a winner and they haven't won in a long time. And I'm not defending them because there's a ton of stuff I can say. Yeah, not bringing in, drafting like a Zudu or, not bringing in a big star, guard was an issue. Not having a really great second wide receiver that scares defensive coordinators. Carrying Eric Gray for way too long of a period of time.
Yeah.
They make mistakes, but again, Ryan Dunleavy said it the best. It's the most complete game they've played in 8 years. They just we cannot take for granted what just happened. A rookie quarterback and a rookie running back just beat the Super Bowl champs 34-17, at home. One, we never win at freaking home. We never beat the Eagles unless they're laying down because they're going into the playoffs and they're resting half the team. If it's the most complete game in 8 years, they're making some personnel decisions that are working.
Yeah.
You agree with that, Sean? You want to jump in on that? I mean,
I do. I mean, we've talked about it before. I mean, game day roster decisions is mind-boggling at times, right? So I do agree with that to an extent. I've had some issues with who they not having little Jordan Humphrey, sooner, not having other guys sooner. So yeah, I do agree, but they're getting better. And right. Listen, I want to enjoy this for 6 more days until Sunday. That's what I want to enjoy. So, I mean, listen, we had some great comments, some great questions going on here. I love what I'm seeing. 2-minute drill. You know what? We might have to change the name of it from 2-minute drill to overtime, because overtime is 15 minutes, isn't it? Yeah. So there we go. We'll change it. Christian, you might have to do a new graphic for us.
Yep.
For overtime.
Thank you, Christian, for jumping in and producing at the last moment. Thank you for Ryan Dunleavy. He'll be back next Monday. Remember, guys, we need you to subscribe to the YouTube channel. Tell your friends, your Giants fans' friends, and be like, we got these crackpots on Monday that do a really good overtime rush. I love it. They do this great show on Monday, and it's live with Ryan Dunleavy from the Post. Tell your friends, subscribe. You may not know, but it helps us. It does help us out, right? So, I do need to get the podcast up on the audio channels. I forgot to do it the last couple of weeks, so I needed to get that up there for you, Spotify, Amazon, Pandora folks. I need to do that for you guys. But we're here every Monday at 7:30. We are out till next Monday, and let's hope this team is a 3-win team at this time, because the Denver Broncos will not be an easy team to beat.